We're here to talk about sleeping with back pain, or rather getting rid of back pain so you can sleep. And the handout will have some general advice on getting to sleep and general things you can do to help you sleep. One of the things that people don't take into account often when there is an injury is if you can't sleep, you can't heal. It's very difficult when something interrupts your sleep. And for those of you who don't sleep well anyway, you might pick up some tips on this as well. So let's talk about what the issue is. A healthy spine can move into a lot of different positions, but sometimes when it's injured, it just feels better if it's held in what's called the neutral position, where there's a little bit of a curve here and there's no sideways bend on it. The problem tends to be if you're a back sleeper, there's an unsupported arch. So there's two strategies you can take to help you with that. You can get something under your back to support the arch, or you can put something under your feet so that your pelvis is tilted flat to flatten the back. So that's putting something like maybe some pillows under your knees, and we'll talk about that. So there are a couple of ways to go about this, and we're going to get a volunteer in here and go over some of these. But again, you want to support the curve, and when you're sleeping on your side, you don't want it drooping sideways. So usually between your ribs and your pelvis, there's a little gap, and there's a tendency for it to bow a little bit downward, and that's painful. So let's take a look at some strategies to help you deal with this. Okay, we've got Jake, our volunteer, to show us how some of this works. Now, he's laying fairly flat here, so there's kind of an arch that's unsupported in his back. So what I did is I folded up this towel, and I'm going to stick that under the arch of his back. Go ahead and come up there a little bit, Jake. And you can see where that comes through. Does that feel comfortable? Arch is supported. Now, what some people will do is they'll take this towel, you can actually fold it up and put it inside your top cover of your bed sheet, so you almost have a speed bump in your bed. You may have to fiddle around with the thickness of it to find out what's right. Some people like that. Some people don't stay in one place long enough, so we're going to show you a couple of things. So that's the back supported when he's laying on his back. Now, the other thing we talked about is getting the knees up to flatten the back out. Usually pillows won't do it. That's not going to be high enough to support his arch. You want to get something where it brings the knees up. Usually about to here is where you're looking for. And what some people will do is they'll take a couple of sofa cushions, 2 or 3 of them, wrap them in a sheet so they stay together, and sometimes people can sleep comfortably like that. That's a good option. Now let's look at the side lying options. So go ahead on your side there, Jake. So once again, you can get the old rolled up towel, stick it underneath, and again, you can stick it under there. That can be something that's under the bed sheet. If you're going to support from the side, this knee needs to be higher so that it doesn't rotate the pelvis. So that's where you take that pillow, stick it between the legs. Is that high enough for you?
Feels good.
Usually that's pretty good. So there's side lying. Now I'm going to show you a trick that a lot of people really like that works very well for this. So hang on just one second. Now, this is an interesting technique. I really like it. It's one of my favorites. Let me share it with you. I'm taking this king or a queen size sheet and I'm just holding one corner of it. I let the rest of it hang down and I just kind of rat tail it. So it's just kind of got a rounded shape like that. Then it goes around Jacob's waist. He's a skinny guy, so I'm going to go around in front, around and back, comes out, and we'll just tie it up. You can do it a little bit neater than that, okay? Put a couple of knots in it. This must be a fairly small sheet because now what happens is I'm going to squeeze it so it's bunched, and it's bunched above his hip and below his rib cage. So now up you go there, Jake. So like straight, so when he's laying on his back, guess what? It's in the right place. Now turn on your side. It's in the right place. He can put a pillow between his knees. This is a great way to get some sleep when your back is just killing you. If you go on a long trip or something and are particularly aggravated, you can tie it a little bit tighter, but don't tie it too tight overnight. This usually works pretty well. And now we're going to show you some advanced pillow techniques. Okay, we're going to go with a little bit of an advanced pillow technique here. And we're going to use the corner of the pillow to help support the back from the front or the back. Again, we're going to get it between the pelvis and the rib cage once again, but we're going to support it a little differently. So from the front, go ahead and roll back a little bit. I'm going to take the corner of this pillow and stick it right under there, right between the pelvis and the rib cage. He's going to roll onto it, and he can even grab a hold of it a little bit. So see, as he slightly turns onto it, his stomach, his chest is on the pillow as well. He's supported from the side, and you might want to throw a pillow between the knees and maybe even have that top knee come off a little bit. So he's rolled onto that pillow a little bit. Okay? You can do the reverse too. Come on back. Now I'm going to take this corner again and shove it under him. Go ahead and grab a little bit. See, and he can tuck it up under himself. Can you see it coming out there a little bit? So he's supported from the side. Tuck it up on him. And now he can roll back so his back is on it a little bit. But then you've got to put a little bit more stuffing, as it were, in here so that his pelvis is rotated back a little bit. And he might want to hug something. But those are some excellent positions to help you get sleep at night, because if you can't sleep, you just can't heal.